There is something magnetic in the way they hold themselves. You have seen this person, maybe at work, maybe in your social circle, maybe in a movie or a documentary, and you have probably asked yourself the same question I once asked. What do they have that I do not? What makes them different? Why does their silence feel more powerful than most people's noise? That question used to haunt me, because I grew up believing that confidence meant being loud. It meant speaking up. If you are watching this channel for the first time, take a second right now and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It meant proving yourself, because what we talk about here is not entertainment. I thought confident people were the ones who always had something to say. Drop a comment below. The ones who dominated conversations. Tell me one word that describes how you feel right now. Everyone knew their opinion. Just one word. I read every single comment, and I want to know who is on this journey. Why I was wrong changed everything for me. Let me tell you about a man I once worked with. I will call him David. David was not impressive at first glance. He was average height, average build. If you have ever felt like you need to talk more to be respected, when you first met him, you might even overlook because you were not the loudest voice in the room. Something strange happened. If you have ever wondered why your words do not seem to land the same way other people's words do, this video will change the way you see yourself. People waited for his input. It will change the way others see you. They went to him first. Before we go any further, and here is the strangest part. David rarely spoke. In a 1-hour meeting, he might say 10 sentences, maybe less, but every single sentence mattered. There was no filler. No rambling, no trying to impress anyone, just calm, clear, deliberate words. And everyone listened. I remember watching him and feeling confused. I was the opposite of David. I talked constantly. I shared my opinions on everything. I made jokes. I tried to be seen. I tried to be heard. And yet no one looked at me the way they looked at David. No one waited for my words the way they waited for his. That contradiction bothered me for years. I did not understand it. How could someone who barely spoke have more influence than someone who never stopped talking? The answer to that question is what this entire video is about. And once you understand it, you will never see confidence the same way again. The first thing you need to understand is that words lose value when they are overused. Think about money for a second. If everyone had unlimited money, money would be worthless. Its value comes from scarcity. The same principle applies to your words. When you speak constantly, your words become cheap. People stop paying attention. They tune you out. They start waiting for you to finish so they can move on. But when you speak rarely, something shifts. Your words become events. People lean in. They pay attention. They remember what you said. This is not about being silent all the time. This is about being intentional. It is about understanding that every word you speak is either adding to your value or subtracting from it. Confident people understand this instinctively. They do not speak to fill silence. They do not speak to be noticed. They speak because they have something worth saying. And when they do not, they stay quiet. And that quietness is not weakness. It is power. Now let me ask you something. Think about the last conversation you had. How many of your words were truly necessary? How many added value? And how many were just noise? Be honest with yourself. Most of us fill conversations with empty words. We say things like, I know, right, or yeah, totally, or that is crazy. We repeat ourselves. We over-explain. We talk just to avoid awkward silence. But here's what confident people know. Silence is not awkward. Silence is powerful. When you can sit in silence without feeling the need to fill it, you communicate something important. You communicate that you are comfortable with yourself. You communicate that you do not need external validation. You communicate that your peace is more important than other people's expectations. And that is incredibly attractive. Not just romantically, but socially, professionally, in every area of life. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin. And nothing shows that comfort more clearly than the ability to be silent without being anxious. If you are finding value in this so far, do me a favor, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it helps this video reach more people who need to hear this message. We are building something here, a community of people who are committed to real growth. And your like helps that community grow. Now let us go deeper. There is another reason why quiet confidence is so powerful, and it has to do with observation. When you talk less, you observe more. You notice things other people miss. You see the dynamics of a room. You read body language. You pick up on subtle cues that talkative people are too distracted to notice. This gives you an enormous advantage, because information is power, and the person who sees the most understands the most. Think about it this way. In any social situation, there are two types of people. There are performers and there are observers. Performers are focused on themselves. How do I look? What should I say next? Are people laughing at my jokes? Are they impressed by me? Observers are focused on others. What is that person really feeling? Why did their expression change when that topic came up? Who in this room has real influence and who is pretending? Performers are trying to be seen. Observers are trying to see. And here is the truth. The person who sees has more power than the person who is seen. Because when you truly understand people, you can connect with them on a deeper level. You can offer what they actually need, not what you assume they need. You can build real relationships instead of shallow ones. You can navigate social situations with precision instead of guessing. This is why truly confident people are often described as having a strong presence. It is not that they are doing something loud or dramatic. It is that they are fully present. They are paying attention. They are engaged. They are there. And in a world where most people are distracted, half listening, waiting for their turn to talk, being fully present is rare, and rare things are valuable. Let me share another story with you. A few years ago, I attended a networking event. You know the type. Lots of people in a room, everyone trying to make connections, everyone handing out business cards, everyone talking about themselves. I watched one man in particular. He was standing near the edge of the room with a drink in his hand, not hiding, not avoiding people, just observing. Throughout the night, I noticed something interesting. He only approached a few people, and he only approached them after watching them for a while. When he did approach, the conversations were different. They were not surface level. He asked questions that showed he had been paying attention. He referenced things he had noticed. He made people feel seen in a way that no one else at that event did. By the end of the night, he had made maybe 5 real connections. Everyone else had made 50 shallow ones. Guess whose connections actually led somewhere? The quiet observer won, and he won because he understood something most people do not. Quality beats quantity, every single time. Now I want to talk about something uncomfortable, because this video is not just about strategy. It is about you. It is about why you might be talking too much in the first place. For many of us, excessive talking comes from insecurity. We talk because we are afraid of silence. We talk because we want people to like us. We talk because we are trying to prove our value. We talk because deep down, we are not sure we have value unless we are constantly demonstrating it. This is hard to admit. I know because I had to admit it to myself. For years, I used words as armor. I filled every silence because silence felt like rejection. I shared opinions constantly because I needed people to think I was smart. I made jokes because I needed people to think I was likable. I was performing, and the performance was exhausting. But here is what I learned. When you are secure in who you are, you do not need to perform. When you know your own value, you do not need to prove it. When you trust yourself, you do not need everyone else to validate you. And that is when the magic happens. That is when you stop talking so much. Not because you are trying to be mysterious, not because you read some article about power dynamics, but because you genuinely do not need to. You are enough without the constant proof. You are valuable without the endless demonstration. You are worthy without the performance. This is the heart of quiet confidence. It is not a technique. It is a state of being. It comes from doing the inner work, from healing the parts of you that feel inadequate, from building a relationship with yourself that does not depend on external approval. And that work is what we focus on in this channel. Not quick fixes, not manipulation tactics, real, deep, lasting transformation. If that resonates with you, you are in the right place. Comment below and tell me what part of this video has hit you the hardest so far. I want to know what is landing for you, and I want to build future videos around what matters most to this community. Now let us talk about practical application, because understanding this concept is one thing, living it is another. Here are some shifts you can start making today. First, pause before you speak. Every time you feel the urge to say something, take a breath first. Ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does this add value? Or am I just filling space? This simple pause will eliminate half of your unnecessary words. Second, get comfortable with silence. Start practicing this in low-stakes situations. When there is a pause in conversation, resist the urge to fill it. Just let it breathe. You will feel uncomfortable at first. That is normal. The discomfort will pass. And on the other side of it, you will find a new kind of peace. Third, focus on listening. Really listening. Not waiting for your turn to talk. Not thinking about what you are going to say next. Actually receiving what the other person is sharing. When you truly listen, you will naturally talk less. And you will say better things when you do speak. Fourth, observe more. In every social situation, start paying attention. Watch body language. Notice who talks and who listens. See how dynamics shift based on who speaks. The more you observe, the more you will understand. And the more you understand, the less you will feel the need to prove yourself. Fifth, do the inner work. This is the most important one. Start examining why you talk as much as you do. What are you afraid of? What are you trying to prove? What hole are you trying to fill? Therapy, journaling, meditation, self-reflection, whatever works for you. But do the work, because quiet confidence cannot be faked. It has to be built. Now I want to address something some of you might be thinking. You might be wondering, but what if I am naturally talkative? What if I just love conversation? What if being quiet feels inauthentic to me? Here is my answer. There is nothing wrong with being talkative. There is nothing wrong with loving conversation. The goal is not to become a silent statue. The goal is to speak with intention. You can be warm and expressive and social, while still being intentional with your words. In fact, the most charismatic people often are. They bring energy. They bring enthusiasm. But they also know when to hold back. They know when to listen. They know when silence is more powerful than words. It is not about becoming someone you are not. It is about becoming a more refined version of who you already are. It is about stripping away the insecure habits and letting your authentic self shine through. And for most of us, our authentic self talks less than our insecure self. Our authentic self does not need to prove anything. Our authentic self is comfortable in the quiet. Now let me share one more idea that might shift your perspective. Think about the people you respect most. Think about the leaders, the mentors, the figures you admire. How many of them are constant talkers? How many of them dominate every conversation? How many of them are loud and attention-seeking? My guess is not many. The people we respect most are usually measured. They choose their words carefully. They listen more than they speak. They make us feel heard. They have a quiet dignity that commands respect without demanding it. This is not a coincidence. It is a pattern. And it is a pattern you can learn from. You can study the people you admire. You can notice how they carry themselves. You can model their stillness, their intentionality, their presence, not to copy them, but to awaken those qualities in yourself. Because those qualities are already in you. They are just buried under layers of insecurity and social conditioning. And the work we are doing here, the work of self-development and self-knowledge, is about peeling back those layers. It is about returning to who you really are beneath all the noise. And who you really are does not need to talk so much. Who you really are is powerful in the silence. Before we continue, I want to make sure you are getting the full value from this channel. If you have watched this far, you are not a casual viewer. You are someone who is serious about growth. You are someone who wants more from life. And this channel is built for you. We go deep here. We talk about things that most people avoid. We face uncomfortable truths. We do real work. So if you have not subscribed yet, now is the time. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you do not miss anything. And if you are already subscribed, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Growth is better when it is shared. Now let us continue. I want to talk about what happens when you start making these changes. Because change is not always easy. And there are some things you should expect. First, you might feel invisible at first. When you stop fighting for attention, you might feel like people stop noticing you. This can be uncomfortable, especially if you are used to being the center of conversations. But this feeling is temporary, and it is also partly an illusion. Because while you might feel invisible, Other people are actually noticing your change. They are registering it on a subconscious level. They are sensing that something is different about you. Give it time. The new perception will form, and it will be much more powerful than the old one. Second, some people will not like the new you. This is important. When you change, you disrupt existing dynamics. People who are used to you performing might feel confused or even threatened when you stop. They might try to pull you back into old patterns. They might criticize you for being quiet or being distant. This is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are doing something right. Change always creates friction. Let the friction happen. The people who are meant for you will appreciate the real you. The people who only like the performance were never really your people. Third, you will face moments of doubt. There will be times when you wonder if this is working. Times when you feel tempted to go back to old habits. Times when the silence feels uncomfortable and talking feels easier. This is normal. Growth is not linear. You will have setbacks. You will have moments of weakness. The key is to keep going. Every time you catch yourself slipping into old patterns, notice it, acknowledge it, and choose again. The more you choose, the stronger your new habits become. Eventually, silence will feel natural. Eventually, observation will feel like second nature. Eventually, quiet confidence will not be something you are trying to be. It will be who you are. Now let us talk about the deeper philosophy behind all of this. Because this is not just about social dynamics. It is about how you relate to yourself. It is about identity. When you talk constantly, you are externally focused. Your sense of self comes from outside, from how people react to you, from whether they laugh at your jokes, from whether they seem impressed. This is a fragile way to live. Because external validation is inconsistent. Sometimes people react well, sometimes they do not. And if your self-worth depends on their reactions, you are on an emotional roller coaster you cannot control. When you become quieter, you become internally focused. Your sense of self comes from within, from your own values, from your own knowing, from a relationship with yourself that does not need outside approval to exist. This is a stable way to live. Because you are no longer at the mercy of other people's opinions. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. You know your worth. And that knowing is unshakable. This is the real goal. Not to be perceived as confident. Not to manipulate social dynamics. But to actually become confident. To actually know your value. To actually live from a place of internal security. And silence is both a symptom of that security and a practice that deepens it. The more you sit in silence, the more you confront yourself. The more you listen instead of talk, the more you learn about who you really are. The more you observe instead of perform, the more you develop self-awareness. Silence is a teacher. And if you are willing to be its student, it will transform you. This brings me to something I want to leave you with. A kind of meditation or reflection you can practice. The next time you are in a social situation, try this. Before you enter the room, take a few deep breaths. Set an intention to observe more than you speak. And then, throughout the event or conversation, notice your urges. Every time you feel the urge to speak, pause. Ask yourself where that urge is coming from. Is it coming from a genuine desire to contribute? Or is it coming from a need to be seen? Is it coming from confidence? Or is it coming from insecurity? Do not judge yourself. Just notice. This noticing is powerful, because once you see your patterns, you can change them. Once you understand the motivation behind your behavior, you can choose differently. And every time you choose silence when you would have chosen noise, you are rewiring yourself. You are building new neural pathways. You are becoming a different person. This is how real change happens. Not through grand gestures, but through small, consistent choices, through awareness, through intention, through practice. You have everything you need to make this shift. It is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more yourself. It is about stripping away the masks and the performances and the insecurity. It is about standing in your truth. Quiet, still, powerful. That is who you really are. And the world is waiting for you to step into it. Now, before we end, I want to ask you something. If this video has given you something, whether it is a new perspective, a moment of clarity, or even just something to think about, drop a comment below. Tell me your biggest takeaway. Tell me what you are going to do differently starting today. I read every comment, and more importantly, when you write something down, you solidify it. You make it real. You commit to it. So take 30 seconds right now and share your takeaway. It could change the trajectory of your week, maybe even your year. And if you want more content like this, subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and come back for the next video. We are building something powerful here. A community of people who are committed to real growth, who are not satisfied with surface-level advice, who are willing to do the deep work. That community is what makes this channel special, and I am grateful that you are part of it. Thank you for watching until the end. Most people would have clicked away by now, but you stayed. That tells me something about you. It tells me you are serious. It tells me you are ready. It tells me that whatever you are working toward in your life, you are going to get there. Because you have the patience, you have the focus, you have the commitment. Those are rare qualities. Protect them, nurture them, and keep going. I will see you in the next video. Stay silent, stay powerful, stay you.